Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my series check-in, so wrapping up the past 3 months on the series that I've been working on, and also my TBR for the next 3 months. This is one of my favourite videos that I do every quarter, keeping me accountable of my series and where I'm at with them, because I'm somebody that likes to tick things off and finish things and be a completionist, so I find joy in doing these things. So we will just dive in. So we'll look at all the things that I finished, then what I continued in, what I started, and then my plans for the next 3 months. And as we're in the middle of the year, I'm going to just give some stats as well into, well, not really, just some overall numbers for the year. Over this past quarter, I have finished 2 series, which brings my total finished series for the year to 5. Ideally, I want to be able to finish like 1 series a month roughly, so I am 1 book, 1 series behind. So hopefully in the next 6 months I'll be able to finish 7 to make up for that. But overall, I mean, still it's a pretty good number that I've been making progress and doing the right things with my series. Of the 2 that I finished the Place of Prisoner series by reading Goldfinch, which is the 6th and final book. In this series, the first book is, was it Guild. The first book was Guild. It's a fantasy romance, King Midas retelling, following my character Oren. Overall, I had a mostly good time with this series. Like, it's definitely not a favourite of all time. I typically gave the books between 3 and 4 stars. Generally, I was happy with the way it all wrapped up. I think that the plot definitely evolves and gets a lot bigger than where it starts. I do think the ending of this book is a little bit disappointing, especially considering, I committed to all 6 books. I had a good time in general, but the ending wasn't the ending that I quite wanted. I then also finished another fantasy romance centered story, which was A Curse Carved in Bone, which is, I don't know what this series is called. The first book is called A Fate Inked in Blood, Saga of the Unfated. So this is just a duology. It is a Norse-inspired fantasy romance following my character Freya, who is wanted by everybody because she is prophesied that whoever controls her, owns her, is going to rule the world. Once again, I had a good time with this. It's not my favourite Daniela Jensen. I think The British Kingdom is my favourite work of hers, but I did manage to see her this past month. Enjoyed this one. And then in terms of things that I continued on in, I continued in 4 series. So I continued in the Lady of Ashes series, so the first book being Lady of Shadows. Lady of Darkness series. I continued in the Lady of Darkness series by reading the 3rd book, Lady of Ashes. Again, continue to have a good time with this. Again, it's fantasy romance, so we're a little bit fantasy romance heavy right now, but I think that will change as we move on, as we continue on. But overall, having a good time here. I do have 2 more books in this series to read, which we may talk about later, because I am planning to continue on in this. But for right now, I did manage to get to the 3rd book. Speaking of sort of more romantic meaning fantasy, I also continued on in the Throne of Glass series, which this one is heavily inspired by Throne of Glass. So I did continue on in that one, and I read the 5th book, which is Empire of Storms. So I've been rereading that series. I have 2 more to go, but continue to have a great time rereading that. So much fun. Such epic moments in those books, particularly now that we're getting to the second half of the series. So Sarah J Maas at her best. And then I did continue working my way through the bonus season series. So I read The Dawn Chorus, which is book 3.5, and then I also read The Mask Falling, which is book 4. So continuing to work my way through this, continue to actually have an amazing time with this series. So much fun, really enjoying all of it, the world building, the character development, the twists and turns of the plot, having such a good time with this world and this series. So excited to continue on. The other one that I continued on in was the Chronicles of Castellane by reading The Ragpicket King. This is the 2nd book, and I believe this is a trilogy with the 3rd book coming out maybe next year. So another one that I had a really good time with, really highs here. The 1st book in this series is Swordcatcher. There's definitely continue to work on all the things that I enjoy in Swordcatcher, such as interesting politics, character dynamics. I enjoy the way that Cassandra Clare writes her characters and the way that she pieces it all together in terms of keeping the tension across all elements, with the plotting, with the romance, with all the different elements. Excited to continue on, but it won't be for a little while on this one. So that is that. And then in terms of new things, new series that I have brought into the mix in this past quarter. So I did start, and then I also continued in the Nightshade Crown series. So I read The Foxglove King and I also read The Hemlock Queen. So I just need to read one more book and I will complete it, which is coming out later on this month in July. This is a fantasy series with lots of court politics and death magic, and I have been having a good time. It's definitely not like a favourite series because I've definitely been seeing, I've got faults with the books, but I have been having a really good time with it, and I think they're fun and enjoyable and just easy enough reads. So we'll be wrapping this series up soon. And then the other one is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, which actually I loved. I need to get back to this and read book 2. I need to get to book 2, but this is like an Arabian Nights inspired series, like centered around Aladdin, like that mythology that I just love because it was in the David series. I love the David series, like, absolute, like one of my favorite series of all time, and this is definitely scratching that itch with this multi-perspective fantasy series that interweaves that Middle Eastern mythology with just a really interesting like plotting and story and characters. So excited to continue on and read book 2 in this one. More people need to read this. And then I do have a couple of other ones, but I read the first book and then won't be continuing on in that series. That the first book was enough, I think, for me to get my taste of the series, and then I'm just happy to leave it as is and not continue on. Unfortunately, books just were fine, but not favourites, and not where I want them to be for me to keep going with them. So the first of these is one that I didn't even finish, and that was Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. I got like 40-50 pages into it, decided enough is enough, not going to read that one, so DNF'd it. The other two I did finish. So I read The Jasad Air by Sarah Hashem. I actually read this in the same vlog that I read The Stardust Thief because I thought they would have similar mythologies and similar itches. The Stardust Thief was definitely my preferred one out of the two. This one is just a duology, and I do think the sequel is coming out later on this month, July. However, I found this quite generic. It didn't do anything unique, or I wasn't obsessed with it. I thought I was going to be, like, I thought I was going to absolutely love this. Yeah. I wasn't at the end of the day, so I'm just going to park this one. And then the same with The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. I had a good time with this. This was one of my self-destructing books for this past year, and I'm overall like happy I read it because I thought that I was going to absolutely love this one. And there were definitely elements that I really liked. Like, there are elements of this, and in theory it should have worked. It really should have worked for me, but it just didn't. It did for the most part, but I just don't feel the need to continue. So, but like both of these are fine. They weren't bad. They didn't do anything wrong. I just don't feel the need to continue. Which puts my On the Go series at 29 still. So this is consistent with last quarter and one up from when I finished 2024. So a little bit of work still to do, but I'm remaining consistently just below 30. Just. Yeah, consistency is there. So moving into plans, because I do have a lot of plans of things I would like to do. I don't know how much of this is achievable, but potentially, maybe, we shall see. So some of these things I guess I've already touched on because I've been reading these series consistently throughout this year, so logically I will be continuing on with them. So logically I would like to continue on and read The Dark Mirror by Samantha Scheinman, the 5th book in the Bone Season. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, logical, although this edition is absolutely stunning edge from Forbidden Planet here. So yes, I do really want to dive into this, especially considering the 4th book's ending. And as I just mentioned, I would like to continue on with the Stardust Thief series. The trilogy is called the Sandsea trilogy. So this one came out back in April. This one is the Ashfire King. I would really like to see where this is all going to go and what's happening with our characters in this world. I know that it's not complete, so I won't be able to finish the series, but at least get up to date with it. And I feel like it's time. Like, it's been a few months now. I feel like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I would like to be continuing on with my Throne of Glass journey, at least reading Tower of Dawn, and hopefully as well Kingdom of Ash. I would like to continue continue reading these. I will be continuing on with them with the audiobook. Excited to continue on with this and see, well, I know where it goes. I roughly know where it goes, but I can't quite remember everything from this. So I actually remember really enjoying this one. I know loads of people talk shit about like Kale and this book, but I actually had a great time with this when I read it for the first time. So I would like to, see if those thoughts stand true. I don't own them as yet, but also continue on in the Lady of Darkness series by reading books 4 and books 5. So book 4 is Lady of Embers and book 5 is Lady of Starfire. So I would like to continue on in that one. I have actually asked my sister for book 4 for my birthday, which was yesterday as of filming this, but probably a week ago when I post this. So would like to be able to continue on with that and hopefully finish off that series as well. So I've definitely got some scope here for finishing off a few things. Another one that I asked my sister for, we'll see if she delivers, is book 9 in the Veronica Speedwell series. So this was a series that I was reading consistently last year, and book 9 came out in February in paperback. I just haven't acquired it yet, so I did ask for that one. I mean, it was just getting me up to date because I don't believe the series is finishing anytime soon. I don't know what the plan is with when it would finish, but getting back up to date with that one. I also have plans to continue on with the Temeraire series. I've been a bit slower with this one, so I have books 3 and book 4 actually. Ellie's getting to book 3 and reading Black Powder War. I have this definitely in scope for July, so this is definitely in the plans because I've been prioritising reading some shorter books after getting a little bit burnt out on the long books. I was feeling a bit burnt out. I've moved to romance. I've binged through my romances now, so now I just need to work back towards the fantasy, but with some of the shorter ones in my library. Continue on with this like Napoleonic Dragons fantasy book. Obviously, spoken about it in many TBRs, every single video I've done this year. Best Have Cold, I would like to continue on with reading the First Law books world. This is the first standalone's Revenge Center story, blah blah. Yes, maybe this quarter, hopefully. But as I've just said, I'm a little bit burnt out on the long books, and unfortunately this one has not made the cut as yet in the long book pile. So we shall see this one. Make sure I don't forget ones that I don't own. I would like to get to Nightshade God, which is the third book in this series. So finishing off this trilogy, and that one is coming out in July, which is another one that I can finish off. So I've definitely got like 3 here, or more than that I can finish in this quarter. I could hopefully do a really good amount of finishing things in this next quarter. Another one that is coming out that would finish something off is The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk, which is the second book, the fourth book overall in Carissa Broadbent's Crowns of Nyaxia series, but they're all made up of duologies, so this is the sequel to the second duet. Very excited to dive into that one when it comes out in August, so excited for that. And then the other finale to a duology is Thief of Night by Holly Black, which is the sequel to Book of Night, which I read last year. I read that one last year as part of my self-destructing books, and I actually had a good time with it. Excited to see where it all concludes, and so that's another one that I can wrap up and finish. So we've got 5 series that I could hopefully finish in this quarter. We shall see how many of those I actually do finish, but that should look really good when I get to my next quarter, hopefully, as long as I get back into that fantasy mood and don't continue just buying romances. Otherwise, some things that I've not mentioned: Among the Burning Flowers by Samantha Shannon is coming out. If I haven't got tired of reading the Bone Season series, this is part of the Priory of the Orange Tree series, but they're all standalones within that world, and I think this is a novella within that series world, Roots of Chaos books, and that's coming out in September, so hopefully I could potentially get to that one as well, although I'm feeling less of a pressure on it because of them all sort of standing alone. And I think this is a prequel just prior to the start of Priory of the Orange Tree, sort of leading up to those events. And then I think everything else is a little bit more of a start of things, so less of a continuation and more of a starting fresh on something. Although a couple of these are rereads, so I would like to. There's 2 rereads that I would like to get to in the next quarter, or definitely in the next 6 months. So the first of these being Witchlands by Susan Dennard. I have read this, I think I've read this one actually a couple of times. Originally I first read this in, I think it was 2016. I loved it. I've loved it. So I've read the first 3 books within this series. The final book is coming out later on this year. I think it's in November. The fifth and final book is finally coming out after a long time. So I would like to reread what I've read. So the first 3 books. Maybe I'll do it via audiobook. We shall see. Undecided as yet. And then be able to continue on. I do own the 4th one. This is the 4th one. Yeah, I do own this one. It's been sat on my TBR for a good few years now, waiting for its time, waiting for that final book to come out because I knew I needed to reread. I have to. It's been far too long prior to me starting that one. So I would, yeah, love to be able to dive back into this in this next quarter. And then the other reread is The Jasmine Throne, which I think I've spoken about a few times. I did plan to finish the series in 2024. So I do have the Oleander Sword and the Lotus Empire. It's been too long now. I need to reread. So I had The Jasmine Throne. I really like Tasha Suri. I have seen her at events. I saw her at one in June. I think she speaks so eloquently and is really funny, and just I enjoy her books. I enjoy her. So I would love to be able to reread this, whether I do it physically, audio, I don't know, but I would like to get back to this series and then be able to complete it. And I feel as though I should do that in this quarter so that then I can finish it before the end of the year. Is the hope that I get this one done by the end of the year. I also have this, which is her latest release, which is coming out in October. So I do definitely would like to get to all 4 Tasha Suri books and get back up to date with her by the end of the year, although I do know that this one is a standalone. So yeah, would like to get to a lot of Tasha Suri. And then finally, I've mentioned it in my June wrap up, is that I did start The Winter King by Bernard Cornwell. Not sure how I'm feeling about this. I am 100 pages in, so I have started it. We'll see what I do with continuing it. If I continue it, what happens with it, my thought, I don't know. But I figure it's better to mention it instead of it just being a surprise at some point. But I have started this-ish, yes. But no, there's no ish. I have started it. Just don't know if I'm going to finish it. And then the other one that I have also started in the month of July and having a really good time with so far is Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. This is the first book in a quartet, so I do own the lot. I'm having a great time with this first one. So it's like a cozy fantasy romance, a darkly whimsical cozy fantasy. So I'm having a good time with this, having a lot of fun. Well, I will be reading this one, continue on with it, and we shall see what I do with the rest of these. I have been hearing that I potentially need to read The Clockwork Boys before I get to book 3 in this series, and Sword Heart potentially, whether I actually need to read more books than just these ones to actually get everything, or am I okay to just read all of these and then at some point read Sword Heart and The Clockwork Boys books? Let me know, please. There we go. That is everything for right now. I mean, obviously I still have plenty of TBR up above. There's plenty up there. There's plenty of things. So we shall see if I'm able to get to any more of those over this next quarter. I have a very busy personal life quarter with a lot going on in terms of holidays. Every weekend between now and pretty much October is full. Literally every single weekend I have things on, which is great, but it does mean that I'm going to be quite busy. It's going to be a busy few months, a very, very busy few months, but great fun few months. I'm looking forward to it. I just don't know how much reading I'm going to be able to get done. Anyway, let me know if you've read any of these, which ones you're excited for me to get to, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my future videos. Bye!